At the movie's start, we see a man named Daniel Mason running away from a group of people chasing him. After some time, they manage to trap him in a narrow alley. Leading the group is a man with a code name, someone who seems to be in charge, and he acts calm, almost like a doctor. Daniel refuses to give up and fights back. But since he had been running for a long time, he was already exhausted and couldn't fight at his best. The leader easily overpowers him, and Daniel is severely injured. They then take him away as Daniel struggles, unable to resist due to his weakened state. The scene shifts, and we see a man wearing a mask. He enters a location and silently eliminates all the guards. It's then revealed that this man is John Gold, a former Special Forces soldier. After retiring, he now works as a mercenary, taking on private contracts. His current mission involves rescuing a girl who has been captured by the same group. Meanwhile, we see Daniel being tortured, but despite all the pain, he refuses to reveal any important information. Through these scenes, we learn that Daniel once served in the Special Forces alongside John Gold. Daniel's captor taunts him, saying, "Your parents were punished for your betrayal. You tricked me. That's why I killed your father first, and then your mother." The villain adds that Daniel's parents suffered because of his betrayal and threatens to leave Daniel in the same miserable state if he doesn't talk. It's revealed that Daniel was a double agent, secretly working against his captors. Back in the city, we see John Gold at his house, living in isolation. Suddenly, he receives a voice message on his phone. The message says, "John, your friend needs your help. Something's gone wrong with our mission." But before the message ends, John hears gunshots, suggesting that something terrible has happened. It seems his friend's family was killed. Determined to help, John quickly gears up and heads out. When he reaches his friend's house, he finds the place locked, but he easily breaks in. Inside, he notices dried bloodstains on the floor, a sign that something horrible had taken place. Seeing the bloodstains in the house, John begins to feel uneasy. He quickly calls Daniel's commanding officer to gather information about what happened to Daniel and his family. He learns that Daniel's entire family has been murdered. John goes to the morgue to see Daniel's body. The doctor shows him the body and explains that Daniel was tortured extensively before being killed with a knife to the neck. The doctor adds that Special Forces soldiers found Daniel's body in the forest while returning from a mission. The report was written by the leader of that Special Forces unit. Afterward, John visits a nearby shop where Daniel's parents used to buy cigarettes. He stands there, mourning, and vows to seek revenge on whoever is responsible, saying, "Whoever did this, I'll make sure they regret it." From a distance, someone is watching John, surprised to see him there. John returns to his old home, and it's clear that he and Daniel are more than just comrades. They grew up together and were like brothers. Daniel's family was as close to John as his own. Soon after, John discovers a new clue when he reads an entry in a reporter's notebook. It contains a recording that reveals Daniel had been investigating someone named Hayer, a man involved in shady activities. The note mentions that Daniel discovered Hayer had committed crimes in Afghanistan, but there is no official record of these actions. Later that evening, John goes to a bar to find more information about Daniel's investigation. As he asks around, a group of men notices him and realizes he's trying to dig up details about Daniel's death. One of the men signals the bar owner to kick John out. But before John can leave, a girl approaches him and says she knows Daniel. She invites him to meet her later to discuss what she knows. As John leaves the bar, the men surround him, but the girl steps in, telling them not to start any trouble. Though they back off, John makes a mental note of their faces. One of them warns John, "Leave town and don't come back, or you'll be next." The girl, named Sandra, tells John that Daniel is a good man and has told her strange things about the criminal activities going on in town. She passes John a key, hinting it may be important. Sandra seems nervous, as if she's hiding something, and John suspects she may be involved in drugs. She explains that a month ago, things were normal in the town, and small-time drug dealers like her could operate without much trouble. But then, a group of powerful people came in and took over everything, forcing the small dealers out. When Sandra tried to resist, they threatened her, leaving her scared and powerless. Sandra continues to explain that she can't do much about the drug situation, as the entire supply is controlled by a special group, led by someone powerful. After hearing this, John tells her that he needs to go to the center where the drugs are being distributed. Though hesitant, Sandra agrees and takes him there. To avoid suspicion, John enters the place disguised as a customer. Before going in, he plants a listening device on Sandra, so he can monitor what's happening inside. As soon as she leaves, a man named Lambert talks to Sandra, telling her that she'll get into serious trouble unless she finds out who John is and why he's asking about the Daniel mission. Once Sandra leaves, John listens to the conversation and begins piecing things together. When Sandra returns, John questions her about why the townspeople don't report the illegal activities to the police. Sandra gets frustrated and explains that there might be a police station in town, but no one there actually works. The entire town is controlled by a powerful group, and there's no real law or order here, only those in power rule. John goes back home and listens to another recording. This one reveals that the drug trade in Devotion Town has grown out of control. The reason for this is because of a man named Hayer and his team. Hayer runs the whole operation, and his second in command is a ruthless man named Bamboo. Another key figure in the operation is Marshall, who is well known for being dangerous. The third member is Stockwell, a brutal man who doesn't hesitate to kill on Hayer's orders. The fourth is a fighter named Limit, an expert in hand-to-hand combat. Lastly, there's someone named Leader, who controls the logistics of the operation. John learns that on July 17, Sandra discovered that Hayer was running the drug business under the cover of a company named Sony Alarms, which is on the state's watch list for illegal activities. With this information, John knows he's getting closer to uncovering the truth behind Daniel's death and the corrupt system running the town. Sandra, feeling nervous after her call with Lambert, reveals John's location to Lambert, not knowing that John has been listening in on all their conversations using a hidden device. John, realizing that Hayer's men will soon come for him, prepares himself for the inevitable confrontation. As predicted, Hayer's gang arrives at John's place, ready to eliminate him. However, they have no idea that John is fully prepared. The moment they enter, John opens fire, skillfully taking them out one by one. Despite their training, Hayer's men are no match for John, and he kills them all. When word reaches Hayer that 4 of his highly trained men have been killed, he is furious. He realizes that John isn't an ordinary person and orders his team to gather more details about John immediately. Meanwhile, John visits a familiar spot in the town, reflecting on how much the place has changed in the last 5 years. What was once a quiet and safe town has now become overrun with crime and corruption. He talks to a local woman, Rose, who reminisces about how Daniel and his father used to be kind, regular customers at her establishment. She expresses confusion over how things went wrong, as Daniel's actions seemed to change, and one day, he was just gone. After gathering information, John advises Rose to leave the town, warning her that it's no longer a place for good people to live. He tells her to get out before things get worse. In the meantime, Sandra heads to the drug warehouse. As she enters, Lambert, who is waiting for her, unlocks the door. Just as things seem calm, John suddenly appears, pointing a gun at Sandra, catching her completely off guard. As soon as they get the chance, John and Sandra are attacked. A fierce gunfight breaks out, but John, with his military training and sharp instincts, easily overcomes the attackers. Once the immediate danger is over, John confronts Lambert, one of the key players in the drug operation, and demands to know why a special forces team was involved in this mess and what happened in Afghanistan that started it all. Lambert, cornered and realizing he can't escape, begins to spill the truth. He explains that their team had been sent to Afghanistan on a mission to destroy a truckload of weapons, but when they accomplished the mission, they found something unexpected: heroin. It was a massive quantity, enough to make them all rich. The team saw this as an opportunity to set up a drug empire and use it as a retirement plan. Instead of sticking to their mission, they decided to sell the heroin and start a drug business back home, in a small town far from major cities, where they thought they could operate unnoticed. But Daniel, a member of their special forces team, discovered what they were doing. He wasn't part of their plan and didn't agree with their illegal activities. Fearing that Daniel would report them and expose their operation, the group had no choice but to eliminate him. They killed him to protect their secret drug business. After hearing this, John is filled with rage. Without hesitation, he kills Lambert for his betrayal. As they leave the warehouse, John notices a mysterious man observing them from the shadows. This man is not part of Hayer's gang, and John suspects he belongs to a third party that has some interest in what's going on. Meanwhile, Hayer, the leader of the drug operation, receives a report from his second-in-command, Bamboo. Bamboo informs him that the man responsible for killing their men is named John Gold. He's a former military operative, once regarded as a one-man army, who disappeared 3 years ago. There's no official record of him since then. Bamboo also reveals that John and Daniel were close friends, almost like brothers. Hayer realizes that John isn't some random operative sent by the military, he's out for revenge for Daniel's death. Hayer starts to worry that John's involvement could be the beginning of a larger military investigation into their illegal operations. As he tries to piece together what's happening, a call comes in from Stockwell, another key figure in their gang. Stockwell delivers bad news: their entire drug warehouse has been destroyed, all their men have been killed, and the operation is in shambles. John, on the other hand, continues his mission. He tracks down Sandra's boyfriend, a low-level player in the drug operation. Earlier, Lambert had mentioned that Daniel was betrayed by someone close to him. John confronts the boyfriend, who admits that Daniel had considered Sandra like a sister. When Daniel discovered Hayer's drug business, he confided in Sandra, intending to report the whole thing to his superiors. Unknowingly, Sandra passed this information to Lambert, who then used it to arrange for Daniel's murder. The boyfriend tearfully confesses that Sandra never meant for Daniel to die. She had no idea that sharing what she knew would lead to such a tragic outcome. John, realizing that Sandra's betrayal was accidental, leaves her alive but devastated by her role in Daniel's death. John continues his hunt for Hayer and his men. Along the way, he is ambushed by Stockwell and some of Hayer's remaining crew. Though John is injured in the fight, he manages to take out Stockwell and the others, one by one. Just when John is at his weakest, a mysterious figure appears. This man isn't one of Hayer's gang but seems to know John. The two exchange a few words, with John acknowledging that they'll have to talk later, but for now, John has unfinished business with Hayer. John retreats to his hideout to patch himself up and prepare for the final confrontation. He asks Sandra for the location of Hayer's stronghold. Sandra, now fully on John's side, provides the information, knowing that Hayer's reign of terror must end. Meanwhile, Hayer is fully aware that John is coming for him. He prepares for the showdown, arming himself and getting his remaining men ready for battle. John, relentless and focused, heads to Hayer's house, destroying anyone who stands in his way. The final battle between John and Hayer is intense. Despite his injuries, John fights through Hayer's men, taking them down with precision and skill. The mysterious man who had been observing the fight from a distance watches as John systematically takes out Hayer's forces. Eventually, it's just John and Hayer. The two engage in hand-to-hand combat. Hayer, despite his strength and training, is no match for John. As the fight reaches its climax, Hayer tries to strangle John, using every ounce of his remaining strength. But just as Hayer is about to finish him off, the mysterious man intervenes, striking Hayer from behind and saving John. With Hayer defeated, John finally gets the closure he's been seeking. The mysterious man reveals himself to be someone from John's past, a former superior officer who had come to the town to investigate Hayer's drug operation as well. He had been following John's movements, waiting for the right moment to step in. In the aftermath, Rose, the local woman John had spoken to earlier, finds a bag of money left for her at her cafe, along with a note telling her to leave town and start a better life elsewhere. John, always looking out for the innocent, had left the money for her. John, having avenged his friend and destroyed Hayer's empire, leaves town with Sandra. The two drive off, leaving the corrupt town behind, ready to move on with their lives. And with that, the movie comes to an end. John's mission is complete, but his story isn't over yet. If you enjoyed this thrilling recap and want to see more stories like this, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest videos. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more exciting content. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications, so you can watch more movies like this. Thanks for watching.